and welcome back to the official Under the Christmas Tree at Cody Key YouTube channel. I'm Mandy and I'm part of the demonstration on this. This is Monopoly Junior Disney Planes board game. This is by winning moves and is suitable for ages 5 years plus. So this is the box that the game comes in, but what I'll do is I'll just lift the lid off and let you have a quick look at the contents inside before we set up. So there it is, the lid off, and here is the contents inside. And as you can see, there's lots of different things here. There is the instruction sheet, which we'll go through in a moment. There is the game board, the dice, there is the money, but this time it's got a little bit of a twist because it is Disney Planes. And there's also a top trumps card here, which does come free as a gift with the board game. So what I'll do is I'll just put this all back in, and as we go through the instructions, we'll set each thing up. So here is the instructions here, and as I mentioned before, it is suitable for ages 5 years plus, and it does also state that you do require a minimum of 2 players and a maximum of 4 players. So also on the front of this, it does tell you the aim of the game. Now the aim of the game is to try and get as many playing characters as possible, whereas in other Monopoly games you may have had to collect as much property as possible. It's the same idea, but you need to collect as many playing characters as possible. It also states the contents that is in the box we've just gone through, but there's like the board game, there's 16 race challenge cards which we'll explain shortly, and there's the plane hangers, which again I will explain shortly. So let's just have a quick look inside the instructions manual. You will see here how to get ready to play the game, how to play the game, and what you can do to make a game just a little bit more harder if you find it a little bit easier, or if you're a bit older and want to try something a bit more challenging. So here is the board game itself. The same idea as original Monopolies, it's just slightly smaller because it is Monopoly Juniors. So it just folds like that in 4 very easy pieces, and as you can see on the board game, all the different characters and all the different squares that you would expect to see on the board game. For example, there's free parking, the go to jail, which nobody wants, visit in jail, and go. So place that in the middle, and that is the board ready. There's also this new aspect here, which is the prize fund, and I'll explain a little bit more about how the prize fund works. But what you do is make it into a box and you place it on the prize fund square here. Now you also will see the race challenge card. Now it's basically the same idea as, for example, the chance or the community chest cards. So you place that on there, and as you land on a race challenge card, you follow the instructions on the card. So then you want to appoint a banker, but this time it's not called a banker, it's called a fuel attendant, because the aim of the game is to try and get as much fuel as possible, and the person with the most fuel at the end is the winner. Now as I mentioned before, you do require a minimum of 2 players. Now if you only have 2 players and you have appointed the fuel attendant, they will then give you 18 of these fuel cards. That's just basically the alternative to the money option that you would see in other Monopoly games. But if you have 3 to 4, then you would only get 14 because there's only so many in a pack. Then each player will then choose a character to represent them to go around the board game. And what you do is you place them inside one of these little tags here, which will help you to move it around the board game. So the person who rolls the highest amount using the dice here is the person that goes first, and then you move from the left or so on, or however it is you want to play it. If you want to start with the youngest or if you want to start with the oldest, it's completely up to you. And then you simply roll the dice. So for example, if I rolled a 4, which I have done here, I would just go 1, 2, 3, 4, and I landed on Sparky. Now the cards are also in the same pack as the race challenge cards, so you need to separate them off before the game starts. And if I wanted to buy Sparky, I would pay 1 alternative to money fuel card to the bank, and they would in turn give me the card, and they would also give me a plain hanger to put on that square if I wanted to buy a hanger. There are 32 of these different hangers, so you can go around the board and place different hangers on different squares, just like there is in Monopoly. And if somebody does land on your square that you have bought and you've also put a hanger on, you can charge them money. But if somebody lands on a square that you have 2 of the same colour of, for example, if I landed on a red and you own 2 red cards, you can charge me double according to your card. Now as I mentioned earlier, there is the prize fund. So how does the prize fund work? Basically, if you land on, for example, the race challenges card, which are here, and it tells you to pay the fuel attendant fuel allowance or 10 fuel allowance, you would put it into the prize fund. Now if you can see here, you will see there is a prize fund square, and if you land on that square, you get to take what's in the prize fund. Now if somebody lands on one of your squares and they can't pay you the amount that's required on your card, then they are then declared bankrupt. And at that point, that's the end of the game. Or you could just say that person is no longer playing and keep going until the last person standing basically, or whoever has the most fuel. Now if you're a bit older or if you feel you want to try something a little bit more challenging on the game, you could try introducing different rules. For example, you could try swap. You could swap different cards with different players and also swap the hammers to try and get as many of the same colour cards as possible, because like I mentioned before, you can charge double when somebody lands on a square that you have two of the same colour for. So basically that's the complete idea of the game, is to try and collect as much fuel as possible and get as much property as possible on the game and avoid going to jail at the same time. But if you would like any further information, you can of course visit us at underthechristmastree.co.uk, and I will put that link in the box below. Or you can visit Winning Moves or Monopoly, and I will also put that in the box below. Other than that, thanks so much for watching. Bye!